field whenever you're ready.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. It is opening night for your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs as they host their arch rival, the Utica Blue Sox, right here at Veterans Memorial Park in Little Falls, New York. I'm Scott Kimball here on the play-by-play, filling in for Pete Pagliaro. And I'll tell you something, this is the most wonderful time of the year if you're a baseball fan. The Dogs did play last night. It was an exhibition game against the Albany Athletics right here at Veterans Memorial Park. They lost that game 11-10, but what an exciting game that was. Two big comeback efforts by the Dogs. Fell just short, but that's okay because now it counts. These games count in the standings, and everybody here is ready to go. So your starting lineup for your Dogs in left field is going to be John Calabrese. The catcher is Matt Meyer. DHing is Ian Olschlager. Shortstop Joey Calabretti. First base Brandon Haug. Third base is Justin Hurd. Center fielder Ethan Hughes. Right fielder Edwin Sanchez. And the second baseman tonight is Sean Stoney. And starting pitching tonight for the Dogs from Herkimer College, right here, hometown guy, is Brandon Rusnak. So obviously with this being opening day, there is no records for these teams just yet, but I can tell you right now, it doesn't matter whether we're playing on May 29th or on July 29th. These are two teams that just do not like each other. Long-standing rivalry here between Mohawk Valley and Utica, dating really all the way back to the New York Penn League days, when it was the Utica Blue Sox, then, of course, against the Little Falls Mets. All the way through, the rivalry has maintained its shine, and it shines no brighter than tonight as we get started for another exciting season of Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League action. As Rusnak takes his warm-ups, we're going to see the Dogs throwing a ball around the infield, and I'm going to give you Utica's opening lineup, or starting lineup, I'm sorry. Let's see, catching tonight for Utica is Vincent Kadri. At shortstop is Matt Kalela. First base, Brian Guzman. DH is Sean Souza. And right field is Ryan Ulysses. Third baseman is Xavier Smith. Second baseman is Waldy Rodriguez. In left field is R.J. Tomei. And in center field is Connor Jones. And the starting pitcher tonight for Utica is Michael Zitola. So like I said, and you know what? This is the best part, folks. It rained all day. Well, guess what? I think the weather gods above knew that we wanted to play some baseball tonight because the skies have cleared, the sun is out, the sky is blue, no wind in the air, perfect night for baseball, and this is just an exciting, exciting time. As the Dogs infielders throw the warm-up balls back to the bench, Rusnak taking his final warm-ups, and we are going to be ready to go in just a minute here.
Say thank you for being the best fans here.
As you saw before the Dogs took the field, our sponsor for tonight was Valley Cinemas, and our friend Devin and his daughter did the opening pitch, for the ceremonial first pitch. So good job out there tonight. And I think the umpire just signaled to the boys, okay, get that throw down to second base because we want to get some baseball going. There he is, Matt Meyer, just like he did last night, throwing right from his knees. What a gun this guy's got for an arm.
Leading off the Blue Sox, the catcher number 1 from Macon College, Vincent Cowdrey.
And speaking of catchers, here you go. Here's Utica's leadoff hitter, Vincent Cowdrey. The right-hander going up against the right-handed throwing Rusnak, and we are just about ready to go. As Rusnak looks in, he starts his windup, and here's the pitch. Inside for ball 1, and the season is officially underway. As Rusnak looks in, there's the windup, and at the knees, strike 1. So the count goes to 1-1. Looks like the Dogs infield is pretty much straight away. Rusnak making sure he's on the same page with Meyer. Here's the pitch. And that is fouled off and into the tennis courts. So the first one into the tennis courts of the night. Took 3 pitches. All right. You know, we got to keep track of that some night. Just how many baseballs end up in those tennis courts. I've said it time and time and again. I can tell you that the kids love that because that's where the souvenirs are to be had, in the tennis courts. But you better be paying attention because that ball comes over that fence quick. So with the count 1-2, here's the pitch from Rusnak. And that's fouled right back at us, just to the right of us off the cage. And I'll tell you, last night we were talking on the broadcast, there was some bumblebees around. They're not here tonight, so let's hope they found a new place to hang out. We don't mind if they watch the game. They just don't want them in front of us. As the count remains 1-2 here, with no outs in the top of the first inning. Here's the windup from Rusnik, and that is fouled back. So Cowdrey's staying alive. As the count remains 1-2, he's definitely got to be protecting the plate here. As Rusnik looks in, gets the signal from Meyer. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. Just low. Cowdrey held up, so the count goes to 2-2. The Dogs stand ready out there in the field. Here's the pitch. And that's laced into center field. That's going to land for a base hit. Calabrese fields and gets it back into the infield, so a leadoff single for Cowdrey. And that's going to bring up Matt Kalela. Utica shortstop.
Our water balloon toss. So if you're up for a splash and good time, chance to participate, come on over to the area.
So Utica gets their leadoff runner aboard. Let's see if Rusnik keeps an eye on Cowdrey here. We don't really know what the scouting report is on Cowdrey, whether he's a threat to steal, but usually your leadoff hitters are, so we'll see what happens. He's dancing over there. Dancing with the stars. Throw over. Nope, does not get him. That's always one of the fun things to watch when a runner's on first base or even on second base, the mind games between the pitcher and the runner. As Houck holds him on at first. Rusnik comes to the plate instead and low for ball one.
You need to back it up off the grass a little bit. You can't just put it back in the dirt to keep it level.
Rusnik looks in, takes a look over at Cowdrey. Doesn't have too big of a lead. And there's the pitch, and that is lifted into right field, charging, and the play is made. All right, so that was Edwin Sanchez with the catch out in right field. Cowdrey holds it first, was really shallow, so one out here for the Dogs. That's going to bring Brian Guzman to the plate. Guzman's the first baseman for Utica tonight. That was a nice play by Sanchez. He had to hustle in, and communication is key in those kind of plays because you had Stoney, who's playing second base on it. He was at short last night. He was charging out there too, so Sanchez made the right play and called him off. And there goes Cowdrey, and here's the throw down from Meyer offline, and it gets into center field. However, not far enough for Cowdrey to advance, so Utica now has a runner in scoring position, as that was called strike one. So that's going to give Guzman an opportunity here with a runner in scoring position. As Cowdrey takes his lead off second, doesn't really look like anybody's holding him on. So Rusnik's going to come to the plate, and that is lifted into foul territory on the right side, and looks like Houck made the play. I think he couldn't quite tell around the pole here, so nope, he didn't. Okay. My vantage point sometimes here is a little blocked on the right side here, so. And right now there's a discussion between Coach Luby and the umpire because there is foul territory that doesn't count over along that side. As we've mentioned before, much foul territory here at Veterans Memorial Park. So, again, like I said last night, it kind of reminds me of the old Oakland Coliseum in some regards with that. So. Counts 0-2. That was a foul ball, so remains one out. And here's the pitch. And that's in the dirt. That gets away from Meyer. It's going to go rolling into the Utica dugout. So Cadre's going to have to hold up at third base. And the first run of the game is now 90 feet away with one out here in a count of 1-2.
Now I'm going to kind of direct you from here. So now that there's...
And again, like I've said, there's a lot of space here from between home plate and the backstop. So once a ball gets away, it's a really dangerous thing for the defense.
Xavier, if this is a ball hit towards first and you know they're going to first, we're going to follow the batter. This is like a bomb. Guys,
So as Resnick looks in, got Cadre to deal with over on third base, but right now it's imperative to get the batter. And that is high over his helmet, so if Guzman was about a foot taller, that would have been a problem, but otherwise it sailed over his head. So count is 2-2. And here's the pitch from Rusnick. Breaking pitch. He just got a piece of it to stay alive. There's definitely some movement on that off-speed pitch, trying to cross him up a little bit. So, which is always a good idea when you're trying to set a batter up, with one speed, and then you change the speeds up. That illusion there sometimes gets the batter out. But Guzman fouled it off, and he stays alive at 2-2. Swing and a miss for strike three, just what Resnick and the Dawgs needed. So that's 2 outs now. And that is going to bring up the cleanup hitter, Sean Souza, who's the DH tonight for Utica. It's going to be a lefty against a righty here, so Rusnick here now has an opportunity to get himself out of trouble. As Cadre remains at third base. Here's the pitch. And a little low, ball 1.
this ball is hit. Xavier, you're on play. George, I'll let you know.
Dawgs infield back at their regular depth with 2 outs. As Rusnick looks in. Here's the windup, and here's the pitch, and that is outside for ball 2. So 2-0 here. With 2 outs. Like I said, the Dawgs can actually get out of this. If you recall, Cadre got all the way over to third with 1 out, so if you're the Dawgs, you will take any kind of an out you can get here. And here's the pitch, and that is outside for ball 3. So the count runs to 3-0. I'm going to wonder if Sousa's going to have the red light or the green light here.
Xavier, you can square him up more, make him more in the frames and not just a little bit.
Hard to tell looking down at the third base coach, as he's really not giving any signals at all. So here's the pitch. And that is right down the pipe for strike 1. So we got a 3-1 count here with 2 outs, runner on third base, no runs across here in the top of the first inning. As Rusnick looks in, gets set. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 2. So at one time, down 3-0, we now got a full count here. As Rusnick's battled back on the mound. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, no runs in here. And here's the pitch. Oh, got away from the third baseman and into left field. That is going to score Cadre. Hurd had a tough time with that one, kind of scooted right off his glove. So that is going to score a run, 1-0 Utica. Sousa ends up on first base, bringing up Ryan Ulysses. He is the right fielder for Utica. Just a tough play there. That was kind of ate Hurd up, which will happen at third. That's why they call it the hot corner. And Sousa will be credited with a hit. And the right-handed Ulysses is waiting the first pitch. And that is strike 1, and they have now changed that to an error on Justin Hurd. 0-1 as Rusnick looks over to first. On the corner, strike 2. So again, not many scouting reports here early season, so we don't know if Sousa's going to be a threat to steal or nah, he's not taking a huge lead over there, so I imagine probably not. But I've been wrong before, and I'm sure I'll be wrong again at some point. So, and that is laced right at the shortstop, and that is going to do it. Nice play there by Joey Calabretti, and that ends the inning. All right, so 1 run across for Utica, and we go to the bottom of the first with the visiting Utica Blue Sox leading 1-0, and your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs coming up.
We know pools. Garrity Pools and Spa are the experts in building and creating backyard memories for thousands of families. Garrity takes pride in offering only the highest quality in-ground Pacific pool and radiant above-ground pools that are built for upstate New York weather. Garrity offers only the best with BioGuard chemicals to keep your pool sparkling clean. Visit the professionals at Garrity Pools and Spa, 234 South Caroline Street, Herkimer, or GarrityPools.com.
Wake up and smell the sizzle at your local Burger King. Burger King is open for breakfast 7 days a week. Your mornings deserve the royal treatment. So dive in to try our delicious breakfast sandwiches, savor our savory hash browns, and wash it all down with a hot or iced coffee. Whether it's Monday or Sunday, we've got your breakfast cravings covered. Swing by BK today to have it your way. You rule at participating U.S. restaurants during breakfast hours.
Okay, we are back for the bottom of the first inning here as Utica leads 1-0. And as you can hear Billy Idol cranking over the speaker right now, we're loving it at the 80s, just like we were talking about last night. But folks, while we're waiting for the bottom of the first to start, we do want to let you know that the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs are looking for some baseball buddies. They're looking for them for the month of July. So if you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is email Travis at mvdiamonddogs.com and get yourself signed up because it's a lot of fun. We were just showing that in between innings. The kids go out there in the field, play all kinds of games. It's a real fun time. They get to run out with the dogs. Your group will love it. So go ahead and give Travis an email and get yourself signed up. All right, so now we are ready to go in the bottom of the first as Michael Zotolo looks into the leadoff batter, John Calabrese, who's the left fielder for the Dogs. And that is ball 1. John coming to us from Bucknell. And as you can see, we got our graphic. Ooh, that was a little inside. But yeah. I'm sure he heard that one coming by him. And as you can see, one of the new things that we're doing this season, we're always trying to figure out ways to improve our broadcast. We got graphics made up now. So this is going to be another really cool addition. I'm going to be talking about more of them as we go on throughout the game. That's another inside pitch. So it count runs to 3-0. And I was mentioning last night, I love John's warm-up swing. I love how he just kind of stops in between and continues along. It's so cool. So you got a 3-0 count here with Calabrese, the leadoff hitter, looking to get aboard and get the Dogs going. And that is low for a 4-pitch walk. So there you go.
Coming to the plate for the DiamondDawgs is the catcher number 2 from Brockport University, Matt Mayer.
And here comes Matt Meyer, who is the catcher tonight. He started off last night as the DH and then switched over to catcher about halfway in between. And he played himself a really good game last night, too. So good start here for the Dogs, getting a leadoff runner aboard. And that is outside for ball 1. Showed bunt, pulled back, though. A little trickery there, a little deception, if you will, from Meyer. Again, we talked last night about the small ball. You know, when you lay down the bunt, you move the runners over, manufacture a run, the old National League game, as they used to call it. And that pitch is outside, so Meyer goes up in the count 2-1. As Calabrese takes his lead. Fake going, and that is lifted into right field. Looks like he's got a beat on it, and Ulysses makes the play not quite deep enough to advance Calabrese over, so one out runner remains at first base.
Number 14 from RPI, Ian Oschlager.
As Ian Oschlager steps in, tonight's DH for your Diamond Dogs. He comes to us from RPI, and he had a couple big RBIs yesterday too, so the Dogs looking for more of that out of him this season, as he's batting third. I remember him getting hit by a pitch last night, too, so I hope he got some ice on that bruise, because he took one right direct. I think it was in the leg, so. But he's a tough guy. He walked it off, so. Which most ball players are. And that is low for ball.
I got one.
And as Atola looks in,
This ball is hit.
Calabrese taking a small lead. And that's outside for ball two. So, yeah, that's what I said. I thought it was 3-0, so that's all right. We're back on the same page here. Early season, folks. We got to get the bugs worked out. That's all. 3-0 here. Rollschlager, and that is outside for ball four. So there you go. The Dogs putting some runners aboard via the walk. And I'll tell you something, it's the old axiom in baseball, a walk is as good as a hit, and you bet your bottom dollar that it really is. So now the cleanup hitter, Joey Calabrese, coming up. He's playing shortstop tonight. And the Dogs only have one out with runners on first and second, so they got a real chance to get something going here. And that is inside for ball one. As Atola looks in, takes a look over at second base. As Calabrese out there dancing a little bit, and that is inside for ball two. Well, I tell you, I give Calabrese a lot of credit. He just kind of stands there as that ball is inches away from hitting him. Personally, if it was me, I'd have been flying out of the batter's box, probably landing on the ground, getting all dirty, but not these guys. These guys are tough, man. They get hit by the ball, they don't care. They're like, give me my first base, I want to score. The count's now 2-0. Here's the pitch. And that's fouled right off. Looked like it went off his shin. So it had the illusion of being in play, but it did not because it bounced off Calabrese. Therefore, a foul ball. So the count goes to 2-1 now with one out. Runners on first and second. Dogs down one, but they're starting to bark, folks. You know what happens when those Diamond Dogs start barking. The bark gets louder and louder, and the next thing you know, they're doing something great. So let's see what happens here. Swing and a miss from Calabrese. So the count runs to 2-2. An ever so slight breeze picks up here, blowing through the press box. Feels kind of good, actually. And a swing and a miss for strike three. So Calabrese strikes out. And that's two outs, and that's going to bring up Brandon Houck, who's the first baseman tonight.
Coming to the plate, the first baseman, number 23, from St. Thomas Aquinas University, Brandon Houck.
Brandon coming to us from St. Thomas Aquinas University. I was having a hard time saying that last night, so I somewhat practiced that in my head. You know, like, I got to get this right. You know, this is a broadcast. You got to get this stuff right. So, at any rate, runners on first and second, two outs. Dogs down one. As Hawk digs in against Atola. And there's the pitch on the corner for strike one. On deck is Dogs veteran Justin Hurd. And that is inside. I think he was trying a breaking ball that just did not break. So the count runs to 1-1. You just heard the charge there with the horns. Every time I hear that, I think of the old Yankee broadcast on WPIX. For some reason, Phil Rizzuto. That is low in the dirt for ball 2. So 2-1, 2 outs here. Runners on first and second. The Dawgs threatening. As I mentioned last night, you got Hawk over at first. Hurd fouls him right up in the lineup, so you got the H&H brothers. Yeah, and they're going to call the balk on that. Yep. The Sox kind of fooled themselves there, forcing the balk, and there you go. So now instead of first and second, the runners are on second and third, which is huge because if you get a pass ball or a wild pitch, you got a real good shot at tying this game now. Count remains 2-1. And here's the pitch. And laced into left field. That's going to land for a base hit. 1 run scores. 2 run scores. There's your first runs of the season for your Dawgs, and they take a 2-1 lead. That is a 2 RBI base hit for Brandon Hawk. Just what the doctor ordered.
Now he's going to play for your DiamondDawgs at third baseman number 27 from the University of Albany.
So a clutch 2-out single for Brandon Hawk brings in 2 runs. And that brings up Justin Hurd, who I mentioned is a DiamondDawgs veteran. He comes to us from the University of Albany. He's playing third base tonight. And that misses outside, ball 1.
Some of these balls I'm getting are coming off the bat at 118 miles per hour. And if you can track that, you shouldn't be.
As Hawk takes his lead off first. And that is in there for strike 1. Well, I mentioned how big that balk was, moving the runners over to second and third, and that's exactly what happened. If that balk doesn't occur, might have a tie game. I'm not sure he would have scored all the way from first, so there you go. So 2-1 is the count now, 2 outs. Dawgs up 1 with a runner on first. And that hit him. And boy, he just, like I said, he just stood there and he took that pitch. I tell you, give these guys credit. They're tough.
Now adding the center fielder number 24 from Warner.
All right, so now runners on first and second with 2 outs, and another Dawgs veteran, Ethan Hughes, is up. Ethan's in center field tonight for your Dawgs. Coming to us from Warner University, which is, anybody who knows our broadcast knows Dave Stitch Warner, our executive producer, if you will. I wonder if he started that university. Probably not, but I'm sure he'd tell you he did. So, and that's a little dribbler to third base. I was off the place, so they're going to say foul ball. I got to imagine, though, if Dave did start his own university, that would be a blast. So as Zatola looks in, the Dawgs have a 2-1 lead here. Counts 0-1 with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. And that is at the knees for strike number 2. So Pugh's finding himself in a protect the plate situation here. As Zatola checks on second base, looks in, delivers the pitch, and a little bit low, ball 1. So here's the pitch from Zatola, swing and a miss, strike 3, and that is, oh, he got a piece of it. He got a piece of it. Kind of hard to tell. My view was blocked by the umpire, so my vantage point wasn't exactly clear. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So the count remains at 1-2 with 2 outs. And that's fouled off. Hard down to the third base line, off the fence, and foul.
Fans, don't forget our UPS Store Challenge contest coming up between innings. It'll be a fast-paced race. You're not going to want to miss it.
So here you go, 1 and 2, runners on first and second. Pugh steps out for just a second, does a little reset, gets right back in there. His team leading 2-1. And here's the pitch from Zatola, and that's a high chopper over the third baseman and into left field. Motoring around third, and he is in his Hawk, and there you go, 3-1 DiamondDawgs. So with 2 outs, Hawk was running with the crack of the bat, and he crosses home plate. As that's an RBI single for Pews, and that is going to bring up Edwin Sanchez, who Edwin is the right fielder tonight. Edwin plays his college ball at Siena, so another New York State guy here. So with 2 outs now, runners still on first and second, the Dogs lead 3-1. And that's down third for an easy step on the base, and that is going to do it. But the DiamondDawgs get 3 runs in the bottom half of the first inning to take a 3-1 lead. We're heading to the top of the second, and we will be right back.
At GPO, we understand every member's journey is unique. That's why our employees take the time to listen, understand, and deliver personalized solutions that fit your life. From budgeting to borrowing, we're with you every step of the way. Your journey, our commitment. GPO Federal Credit Union, committed to excellence.
At Hummel's Office Plus, our customers remain our #1 priority. Hi, Central New York. This is Justin Hummel, CEO of Hummel's Office Plus. If you are in need of a reliable, competitive, and consistent business product supplier, give Hummel's a try. We offer customized pricing, free next-day delivery, and personalized service. With our wide assortment of office supplies, janitorial supplies, furniture, and everything else you need for your workplace, Hummel's is your go-to for all your business products.
Okay, we are back for the top of the second inning here as the Dogs lead 3-1. The Sox jumped out to a quick 1-0 lead in the top of the first, but the Dogs barked right back with 3 of their own. So looks like we're going to be set up for a pretty exciting game here tonight as the season opener for both teams here in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. Like I said, 2 longtime rivals here going at it, and you just love to see rivalry games like this. And leading off is Xavier Smith, who made the final out last inning. He is playing third base for the Blue Sox tonight. And that's right back to the middle. First pitch off second base. A little weird play there, but Stoney could not get over there in time to gun him. I mean, that was going to begin in center field if it didn't hit off the base. So it was going to be a base hit either way. So Smith gets on as the leadoff batter, and that's going to bring up Waldy Rodriguez. Waldy is the second baseman for the Blue Sox tonight. And like they did last inning, the Sox get the leadoff runner aboard. As Rusnick takes a look over, looks back into the plate. Here's the pitch. And low and away for ball 1. I said, just an absolutely gorgeous night for baseball here. It really is. As Rusnick looks in, Smith takes his lead off first base. Here's the pitch. And that is low for ball 2. And this field looks like it's in tremendous condition here. A lot of credit to the City of Little Falls DPW workers for the work they do with this field, because it looks fantastic. Rusnick looks in, gets the signal. Here's the pitch, and that is foul back just to the right of us, over into probably Burwell Street by now. So the count goes to 2-1 with no outs, runner on first base. Top of the second inning, Dawgs up 3-1. As Rusnick looks in. Here's the pitch. Yes, low for ball 3.
First base dugout area for that on-field throwing challenge coming up soon.
So 3-1, Rodriguez finds himself in a hitter's count here, no outs. As Rusnick looks in, not going to check the runner, doesn't look like it. Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike 2, so there you go, full count now. With Smith on first base and no outs. Top of the second inning here. Going through all the signals here. Here's the pitch, and that is laced into right field, and that is going to draw. That's foul ball. Okay, I couldn't, again, this particular vantage point, the right field side is a little tough for me, but it did fall foul. So we're going to do this all over again. I think Peter Frampton once said that in a famous song of his, Do You Feel Like We Do? Let's do it again. So that's 70s. That's not even 80s. So I went really far back that time.
George, remember when the ball's hit, you're on play, we're going to bang.
So the count 3-2, no outs. Rodriguez at the plate. Rusnick on the mound. Here's the pitch. And that's a short. Hurd falling down. Nice play. Acrobatic play by Justin Hurd. I'm sure the grass is probably still a little wet from the rain we got, so it looks like that's what he slipped on the infield. Didn't matter, though. He still made a great throw across first base to get Rodriguez, and now that's going to bring up R.J. Tomei, who's the left fielder for Utica, as Smith moves to second anyways. So with one out now, runner on second base. With an acrobatic play by Hurd over there at third base. And here's the pitch. And a little inside, ball 1. As Rusnick looks in, we got a 1-0 count here with one out. Runner on second base. A little gamesmanship out there at second base. And that's ball 2. So looking into straightaway center field, of course, there's no win here tonight, but you got the championship banners out there, 2015 and 2017 for the Dawgs. And you know darn well that they are really chomping at the bit to add another one here this season. Got room there on the bleachers on the right there to make the trifecta of championships, if you will. So with a 2-0 count here, Rusnick looks in. Just one out here in the top of the second inning. And that's in the dirt for ball 3. So the count runs to 3-0 here, one out. 2-run lead here from Mohawk Valley as Utica threatening once again, though. They got a runner on second base. R.J. Tomei at the bat. And that's in there for strike one, so the count goes to 3-1 now. It appears I've started a Peter Frampton conversation up here in the press box. As here's the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. So Utica will now have runners on first and second base with one out. And that is going to bring Connor Jones, the center fielder, up.
Now batting the center fielder, number 8 from George Washington University, Connor Jones.
Yes, Connor Jones from George Washington University. Looks like we got 3 Dogs here that played their college ball at George Washington, so they're quite familiar with Connor. One out here. Runners on first and second. Utica threatening. Rusnick with the pitch. And that's in there for strike one. So with the count 0-1 here, one out. Dawgs looking to get out of some trouble here as Utica has no runs across, but they do have runners on first and second. And that one gets away from Meyer, but not enough. Good hustle play there by Meyer to keep that within, well, basically to keep Smith at second base, because if he was lackadaisical at all getting out of there, I would imagine that Smith would be on third. But Matt with a very good hustle play, and that's what you want to see if you're a head coach, if you're a Dogs fan, anybody rooting for the Dogs, you want to see that. So anyways, here's Resnick with a 1-1 count here, looking in. And Jones at the bat. Looks over. Here's the pitch. And that is lifted into center field. And there's the play made by Ethan Hughes in center, and it was not deep enough to move over the runners, so the runners remain at first and second, now 2 outs.
Catcher number 1 from Macomb College, Vincent Cowdrey.
As Rusnick 1 out away from working out of a jam here. With Vincent Cowdrey coming up, he got on base, he led off with a single last time, so he is their catcher. So the runners on first and second, 2 outs now. Rusnick looks in. Here's the pitch. In the dirt. Nice block there by Meyer. Ball 1. As the Dogs batteries get their signals together here, get on the same page. From the stretch is Rusnick. Of course, runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. And that is in there for a strike. Strike 1.
Make sure you head on over to our souvenir sale with Cindy. She has all great new gear for the season.
The Sox runners have pretty sizable leads right now. Nobody's really holding them on base, so with 2 outs, you just want to concentrate on the batter and get him. Foul tip off Meyer and to the backstop, so the count goes to 1-2. Now keep in mind, with any kind of contact here from Cowdrey, those runners are going to be going, so you definitely want to be on your toes if you're the defense for the Dogs. All right, Rusnick looks in here, 1-2. He can get out of a jam here with 1 pitch. He's got 2 outs. And that is laced into left field, base hit. 1 runner is going to score. All right, so Smith scores on that. Runner advances to third on the throw. So runners on the corners, that's an RBI single for Cowdrey. And it's now 3-2.
Now batting the shortstop, number 56 from Lafayette College, Matt Kalea.
So much like I said when the Dogs at their timely hit, if you're a Utica fan, player, or coach, that's what you want to see from your team as well. Timely two-out hitting. So now it's Matt Kalela up. He's the shortstop for Utica with runners on the corners now. 2 outs. The threat is not over. As Rusnick looks in. And that's into right field. That's going to land for an RBI single. And Sanchez fires into second base. Runners remain on the corners, but Utica has now tied this ball game up at 3.
Now batting the first baseman, number 29 from New Mexico Junior College, Brian Gossman.
So a 2-out rally here by the Blue Sox finds this game tied at 3 with Brian Guzman up at the plate. He is the first baseman for Utica. As Rusnick looks in. We're going to get that one play to get out of the inning here. And we'll say he definitely wants to make sure he's got his signals there. He likes to take his time, which there's nothing wrong with that. You want to make sure you got your signals right. Meyer tried to frame that one a little bit for his buddy, but to no avail. Ball 1. As the breeze starts to pick up a little bit here, you can see Old Glory out in center field kind of starting to wave a little bit. And that's fouled straight back to the cage, so the count runs to 1-1. Looks like our friends from WKTV out there in center field recording the game as well, so I'm sure they'll have some highlights on their 11 o'clock newscast. As the count is 1-1 with 2 outs here. Tie game at 3. Big rivalry game here. Big rivalry to open up the season. Runners stay put, and he went. Home plate umpire did not even bother to check. He says, you went. I'm not even checking. So the count goes to 1-2 here with 2 outs. As once again, Rusnick can get out of the inning with 1 pitch. And here's the pitch. There goes the runner at first. Swing and a miss for a strikeout. Strike 3. So the rally is over for Utica, but not before they score 2 runs to tie this ball game up at 3. So we will go to the bottom of the second with the score tied up at 3. We'll be right back.
Spring into action and get started on your home projects with Little Falls Lumber. Get your free estimate today for that project, big or small. Little Falls Lumber. They're always happy to help.
Stop by one of our 3 convenient locations and speak to one of our knowledgeable salesmen about your next project.
Hey fans, tell the world you are here at Veterans Memorial Park watching your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. Share your experiences, connect with other fans, and gain behind-the-scenes access to your favorite team. For more information, visit mvdiamonddogs.com or like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, we're back here, and one of the features that we're going to be doing this year is instant replay, and here is that acrobatic play by Justin Hurd. Look at that throw. What a play, I tell you. It's, like I said, that infield grass is still wet, but it did not stop Justin from making a highlight reel play. So even though we are not ESPN, it's still top 10 in my book every day, all day. So it looks like Michael Zatola remains in the game for Utica as the pitcher. As we go to the bottom of the second here, score tied up at 3. And this is going to be Sean Stoney leading off, the Dawgs' second baseman.
Leading off the DiamondDawgs is the second baseman, number 7 from Lincoln University, Sean Stoney.
And I just noticed Sean with the traditional baseball gear. He's got the stirrups showing. I love it. And that's a swing and a miss for strike one. And here's the pitch from Zatola. That is outside in the other batter's box for ball one. So with the 1-1, here's the pitch. Zatola gets his signal. He's working pretty quick, so here's the pitch. And that is laced into center field. Oh, but does not land as it falls right into the glove of the center fielder, Connor Jones, for out number one. Made great contact with it, but unfortunately sometimes that happens in baseball where you just hit it right to the guy that's standing there. So that's going to bring the lead-up batter, John Calabrese, up. John is the left fielder for your Dogs tonight. As I mentioned earlier, he plays his college ball at Bucknell. As Zatola looks in, here's the pitch, and that is fouled back over the locker rooms, probably into the woods. So here's the 0-1 pitch with one out, and that is high for ball one. Count goes to 1-1. So looking out at that scoreboard there in right field, it looks like there has been at least one run scored in every part of each inning in this game so far. Early game yet, young game. We're in the bottom of the second, but exciting nonetheless. Oh, he tagged that one. But this cavernous right field held it in. Boy, he got all of that, but unfortunately for him, Ryan Ulisse was there to make the play. Oh, and that's cool. We got a dog out in the field. That is awesome. If you can see that on the stream, that was really cool. The dog came out to get the bat. You know, we talk about bat boys. We got a bat dog here. You don't see that every day. Yet another unique thing about coming to see these Mohawk Valley DiamondDawg games. And that is a swing and a miss there by Matt Meyer, the catcher. So with two outs here and the count 0-1. And that is on the corner for strike two. So the count goes to 0-2. Meyer's going to be protecting here. Like I said, a beautiful night here for baseball. You can't ask for anything better. Not too hot, not too cold, no wind. And here's the 0-2, and that is high for ball one. And there's the pitch and a swing and a miss from Meyer for strike three. So that'll do it. 3 up, 3 down for the Dogs as we go to the top of the third inning. Game is tied at 3. We'll be right back.
At NBT Bank, we know that this day starts with this one. This day starts with this one. Because no matter how unforgettable the extraordinary days are, there's a lot of every day that leads up to them. You can count on NBT Bank to help you get started. NBT Bank, it starts here.
Some people might think that the tire shop in Canajoharie only does tires, Nah, that's only their name. The Tire Shop does so much more. Oil changes, custom wheels, interstate batteries, computer wheel balancing, tire repair service and recapping, auto accessories, tire chains, ag bags, bale and net wrap, and much more. And when it comes to tires, the Tire Shop at Canajoharie also does so much more. Lawn and garden tires, off-the-road, backhoe, loader tires, log skidder, agricultural, ATV and UTV tires, and on-the-farm tire services. The Tire Shop is a multi-line new tire dealer. That means they're quite a choice for top brand name tires for your car, truck, SUV, semi-tractor, and trailer, all at great prices. They're also a Goodyear national accounts and state contract pricing location. Financing available too. Find more information and a list of services at thetireshop.biz. Thetireshop.biz. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 6. Yes, Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Tire Shop, 155 Erie Boulevard in Canajoharie.
And we are back for the top of the third inning with the score tied at 3. As Brandon Rusnick remains in the game here as a pitcher for the DiamondDawgs. And we got a good one going here in Little Falls. And leading off for Utica is going to be the designated hitter, Sean Sousa. The lefty steps in against the right-handed throwing Rusnick. And here's the pitch. And that is low for ball one. As Rusnick looks in, gets on the same page with Meyer. Here's the wind up. Here's the pitch. And that is outside for ball two. So the 2-0 count here in the top of the third inning, no outs. Sousa at the plate. Rusnick looks in. Here's his windup, and here's the pitch. And low for ball three, so the count runs 3-0. You know, we've been showing you a couple of instant replays. You know, one of the new features we got here in our live stream. Another thing we're going to be doing is we're going to have a roving camera this year. And we're hoping to have it up and running next week for our home games for Tuesday and Thursday. And that is outside for ball four, so Sousa gets on with the leadoff walk. And this camera is going to be really cool. It's going to enable us to be able to go and get different angles of the game. We're going to be doing on-field interviews in between innings, coaches, players, what have you. We're going to be going into the crowd, so if you want to maybe perhaps find yourself as a part of our live stream, you want to get here to Veterans Memorial Park, because you can always watch the replay, right? But being here, there is nothing better than being here at the park. And you might just find yourself a part of the action. At any rate, this is Ryan Ulysses at the plate. He's the right fielder, and he takes ball one as that one got in the dirt, but Meyer did a nice job of not letting that get away. So with the 1-0 count, Rusnick takes a look over. And Sousa doing a little dancing over there. That's on the corner for strike one. Yeah, we definitely want to see fans here filling up that dog pound over there, because those dogs barking, we like those fans to bark too. We want to hear all kinds of noise here at Veterans Memorial Park. We love coming to you live on the live stream here, but like I said, you can watch the replay. You want to be here. That is lifted into center field. Hughes is under it, and he makes the play about 15 feet in from the fence. And Sousa will trot back to first base as he does not tag up, which is going to bring up Xavier Smith. Xavier's the third baseman for Utica. You know, another great thing about being here at the park, you get all kinds of refreshments, some delicious food. You can get your very own DiamondDawgs souvenirs and memorabilia. It's just a great time. It really is. And not only that, you're here with your fellow baseball fans. What's better than that? As Smith laces that one into left center. Hughes gliding over. So smooth out there. Smooth as ice he was. As he retires Smith, and that is 2 outs now. And Sousa remains at first base. And Waldy Rodriguez steps in, the second baseman for Utica tonight. He plays his college ball at the New Jersey College of Technology. I think it's the Institute of Technology. I'm sorry. It's in New Jersey, I know that. So there you go. Rusnick looks in, and here's the pitch. That's in the dirt, but once again, Meyer does a great job of keeping that in front of him. Well, I was saying New Jersey. I thought I said College of Technology. It's Institute of Technology, so it's an institute of higher learning. There. So as Rusnick looks over to first base. Yeah, that's the only problem with being on the microphone. When you make a mistake, everybody catches it. So Rusnick looks in. Here's the pitch. Touch inside. Ball two. We got 2 outs here with a runner on first base. Rusnick looks over. It doesn't look like Sousa's got a very big lead, though. Doing a little dancing. And that's a little low for ball 3. Yeah, if you're the Dogs here, you just want to retire this batter and just get this inning done. Which I know, right? Pretty obvious. So like, wow, that's a great observation there. Of course, if you're the Dogs, you want this inning over. And here's the pitch. Right down the pipe for strike 1. The 3-1 count here. Rusnick looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And that is in the corner for strike 2. So now you got a full count here. 3-2 with 2 outs. Runner on first base. This turns into a one-on-one battle between Rusnick and Rodriguez here. There goes Sousa. And that is low for ball 4, so he won't get a stolen base on that. As Utica now has runners at first and second with 2 outs. We're going to have a little conference here at the Dogs mound.
I have a play, Scott. I have a play if you need it.
And make sure you head on down to our souvenir stand sometime tonight. We got a lot of new Dogs.
Yes, here's our instant replay feature here for you as the Dogs conjugate on the mound. I just love this instant replay. There he is, Hughes. Wow, what a play right there. Just as smooth as ice. You gotta love it. And also, if you're watching from home, you're going to want to go to mvdiamonddogs.com. Like I said, everything you want to know about your Diamond Dogs is at that site. Rosters, schedules, sponsors, everything is right there. mvdiamonddogs.com. All right, we are back to baseball here. As the left fielder Tomei steps in. Rusnick's got runners at first and second he's got to deal with, but he does have 2 outs. And that got him. That got him. So that's going to load the bases up. Fortunately for Tomei, he had that arm guard on there. I think that's what it grazed. So now here you go with the bases juiced. The number 9 batter, Connor Jones, comes to plate. He's the Sox center fielder. And Connor steps out for a second. A little mental reset, if you will. As Rusnick looks in. It's nowhere to put any more runners, so you got to force it all bases too. So here's the pitch, and that is in there for strike 1. All right, so there you go. That's what you needed if you're Rusnick. Get that first strike in there. And here's the pitch. And that is going to bring home a run, as that's the second consecutive hit batsman. The runner scores, and Utica now has the lead.
College, Vincent Cowdrey.
And here's Vincent Cowdrey. He's the catcher. He's having himself a pretty good game here so far, and he's got bases loaded with 2 outs, and his team now leading 4-3. That got in the dirt. That got away from Meyer, and there's going to be no play at the plate.
Finding him and tracking him, that was really good.
As hit batsman and a wild pitch now is doing some damage here for the Dogs as Waldy Rodriguez scores, and that makes it 5-3. That one just had a bad hop coming out of the dirt, and Meyer just couldn't contain it. Because I mean that happens too. And you got a fastball in the dirt like that. If you hit a certain spot, it's going to take a weird hop, and chaos ensues. So the count's 1-0 with 2 outs here. Bases loaded. And as Rusnick looks in, and that's high for ball 2. So Utica now holding a 5-3 lead with runners on second and third with 2 outs.
Make sure your camera stays when you leave. Just make sure it's on the picture. Just in case you take a little bit longer.
That is low for ball 3. So the count's 3-0 here. There is room for Collie on first base. If you're the Dogs, you want to see if you can get him out for sure. And that's in there for strike 1. So count's 3-1 now. 2 outs. Utica leading 5-3. And what little wind we had seems to have calmed down now. It's still a beautiful night here, though. And that is low for ball 4. So the bases are loaded once again with Utica Blue Sox. And that is going to bring up the shortstop, Matt Kalela.
Number 56 from Lafayette College, Matt Kalea.
So Georgia play no matter what.
So the Dogs in a precarious situation here with the bases loaded with Blue Sox. And the number 2 hitter, Kalela, up. And that is into center field, and that's going to land for a base hit. 1 run scores. 2 run score. Runners at first and second. That's a 2 RBI single, and that makes it 7-3. Utica leads. So Utica once again this inning as well doing damage with 2 outs. Recall last inning they did damage with 2 outs. They got a few runs in there, and now this particular in the top of the third, they have pushed 4 across, and they're still threatening. You got runners on first and second with 2 outs, and Brian Guzman's up. He's the first baseman. Here's the pitch from Rusnick. That is fouled out over our heads. Thought maybe it was going to land on the roof next to us for a second, see if it was going to bounce in through the window. Test our reflexes.
All the bees would come out.
Yeah, I know. Leave those bees alone. I don't know where they are. Like I said, they were all over the place last night. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just kind of wondering. So Rusnick checking the runner on second. Taking a look. Here's the pitch. And that's in the dirt, but Meyer keeps it in front of him. Runners do not advance, and the count goes to 1-1. Now Stoney kind of sneaking in over second base, giving a little food for that. It's lined right back at us, too. So even an eye on Cowdrey out there at second base. You want to make sure he doesn't think he's got a free ride over to the third. You got to make sure that he knows. So we're watching you. We're going to make sure you're not going to go anywhere. Counts 1-2 now. Did he go? And it rings them up, and that's it. The strikeout ends the inning, but not before Utica puts 4 runs across. So going to the bottom of the third, the Blue Sox lead over the DiamondDawgs 7-3. We will be right back.
If you're looking for some shopping and dining, head on over to Canal Place, where you will find quaint shops, galleries, restaurants, and inns situated in the old mill buildings and storefronts along the waterfront of Canal Place. They've become known as the happening place for the arts in the Mohawk Valley. Not so long ago, many of these buildings were working mills serving the garment industry. Even today, after conversion to service retail space, many of these rugged but lovely structures speak to our great regional manufacturing heritage. If you're looking for fine arts, entertainment, or antiques, you simply must pay a visit to Canal Place.
Wake up and smell the sizzle at your local Burger King. Burger King is open for breakfast 7 days a week. Your mornings deserve the royal treatment. So dive in to try our delicious breakfast sandwiches, savor our savory hash browns, and wash it all down with a hot or iced coffee. Whether it's Monday or Sunday, we've got your breakfast cravings covered. Swing by BK today to have it your way. You rule at participating U.S. restaurants during breakfast hours.
Okay, we are back here for the bottom of the third inning with the Dogs trailing by 4. Utica has a new pitcher. We're just not quite sure what his name is yet, but we will find that out for you. The roster is not showing the numbers. So, again, early season here. We work out all the bugs. Not a big deal. Just for right now, we'll just call him Mystery Left-Hander X. So... So the Dogs have got themselves a little bit of a hole to dig out of here, but you know, we've seen this team do this time and time again in the past. They did it last night. They came back against Albany once. They were down 5 runs, came back, tied the game, and then they almost came back in the bottom of the 7th inning as it was a shortened game due to being an exhibition, and it fell just short. So we do know that this Dogs team is probably going to be scoring runs in bunches. So they're certainly going to need that tonight. And there's the pitch to Ian Olschlager. First pitch swinging, and that is off to the tennis courts. Foul ball. So here's the pitch, and that is fouled off for strike 2. So with an 0-2 count here, Olschlager's going to be looking to protect the plate. And that is outside for ball 1. Good take there by Olschlager. So here's the 1-2. Ripped down the left field line, but foul. Off the old ticket booth, the old, well, as I recall, it used to be a beer stand down there. A long time ago, you used to be able to get an ice-cold Matt's beer down there, a draft beer. So that's how far back I go, buddy. And that is low for ball 2, so Olschlager's staying alive. Counts now 2-2 here in the bottom of the third inning. And there's the pitch, and that is fouled off. So those kids are getting their souvenir full over there tonight. And here's the 2-2 from number 61. And that rings him up. Caught him looking, strike 3. As the Sox throw the ball around the infield, that's out number 1, and that is going to bring up Joey Calabretti.
Joey Calabretti.
He is tonight's Dawgs shortstop. I believe he was over at third base last night. As he comes to us from Seton Hall University, the Seton Hall Pirates. And that is low for ball 1. And low for ball 2. So, 2-0 count here for Calabretti. And we'll think of Seton Hall as Syracuse's big rival there in the old Big East basketball days. And here's the pitch. Ooh, that's off Calabretti, and that's one way to get on base. As he gets hit, looks like he's okay, shakes it off, and he is off to first base. So there you go. The Dawgs get a runner aboard.
St. Thomas Aquinas College, Brandon Hawk.
And here comes Brandon Hawk, one half of the H&H brothers. He's tonight's first baseman. He had a 2 RBI single last time he was up, so Brandon getting it done in the field and at the plate. And that is high for ball 1. Seton Hall, I think that's near Secaucus, New Jersey, I believe, isn't it? No? East Orange, I'm being told. So, see, I told you that. Not the first time I'm going to be wrong. It's going to be the last time. That could almost be a game in itself. Scott's wrong trivia.
You gotta put the wrong trivia.
Yeah, you're right by putting the wrong answer in. That would be so, that'd be so broadcast right there. It'd be awesome. All right, 1-1 here, 1 out, runner on first base. And here's the pitch, and that is fouled back. Well, a 1-2 count here. Hawk's going to be protecting the plate. And here's the pitch, and that's inside. Almost hit him, but it did not. And the count goes to 2-2. And 61 looks in. Takes a look over at first base. Delivers the pitch. Fouled off. That was definitely a protect the plate swing right there. As that bounced off the cage here right in front of us, just a little bit below us. And there's a throw over. Calabretti back in plenty of time. As the sun is beginning to set here in Little Falls.
Yep, you're still on play.
And here's the pitch. And that is straight back at us. Thank goodness for that cage. Otherwise, I would have been depending on our producer here, Tanner Jakeway, to reach across and make the big snag. He's the athlete of us. Yeah. And I'm sure he would have. Very quick, resourceful lad he is. And here's the pitch, and that is laced into left field. Carrying. It's not going to quite get out, though. As the left fielder, R.J. Tomei, comes down with it, Calabretti goes back to first, and we got 2 outs. The way that came off the bat, I thought maybe they had a chance, but there's that dog out there getting that. Oh, that's so awesome. Grabbing that bat, and here is the second half of the H&H brothers, Justin Hurd. As he steps in, 2 outs here, runner on first base. He made an acrobatic play in the second inning. Over at third base there. Big, healthy cut, but misses. Strike 1. Justin had a great season here in Mohawk Valley last season. Looks to continue that trend this season. And that is fouled back out of play. The peril of parking close to the field here at Betts is if you're parked right behind. That's why I park a little bit further down the road. I don't mind the walk. So the count's 0-2 here, 2 outs. 61 looks in, and a swing and a miss to end the inning. So that'll do it, as the Dogs got a runner aboard but couldn't do anything with it. So we will go to the top of the 4th inning with the score 7-3, Utica Blue Sox leading. We'll be right back.
Visit the Daily Post and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the Mohawk Valley. Our mission is to generate interest in the area and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our podcast, or sign up for our weekly email newsletter. Stop by today at thedailypost.digital. You'll be glad you did.
Wake up and smell the sizzle at your local Burger King. Burger King is open for breakfast 7 days a week. Your mornings deserve the royal treatment. So dive in to try our delicious breakfast sandwiches, savor our savory hash browns, and wash it all down with a hot or iced coffee. Whether it's Monday or Sunday, we've got your breakfast cravings covered. Swing by BK today to have it your way. You rule at participating U.S. restaurants during breakfast hours.
And we are back here for the top of the 4th inning, and a new pitcher for the DiamondDawgs. Jonas Apotnik comes in. He plays his college ball at George Washington University. Of course, making his first appearance here as a Diamond Dog.
Number 17 from George Washington University, Sean Sosa.
And leading off for Utica is going to be the designated hitter, Sean Sosa.
Down to the first base side.
And the right-hander winds up and delivers, and a swing and a miss from Sousa, so strike one. And a healthy cut and a miss, strike two, so there you go. What you want if you're the new pitcher in the game, get ahead early in the count on the first batter, which is exactly what Apotnik's done at 0-2. Here's the windup, here's the pitch, and that is fouled off into the woods. So the count will remain 0-2. Just missed off the outside corner, so the count runs to 1-2. And the pitch, swing and a miss for strike three. So there's a good start for your Dogs to the top of this 4th inning. There's a leadoff strikeout there for Apotnik. And coming up is Ryan Ulisse. He's the right fielder for Utica. And then you got a right-hander on a right-hander here. And there you go, Matt Meyer now going back to that, putting the leg out when he's in the catcher position. We were talking about that last night. I think those old 80s catchers, Tony Pena and Benito Santiago, just sticking their leg out. So cool. And the count goes to 1-1 with one out here. No runners aboard in the top of the 4th inning. Lots of movement on that pitch, and it moved right into the strike zone for strike two. So the count goes to 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike three. So there you go. 2 up, 2 down, both via the strikeout for Utica. And that's going to bring up Xavier Smith. He's the third baseman tonight.
Xavier Smith.
So Apognik off to a good start here in this fourth inning. It's a little low in the dirt for ball one. And he's moving quick, too. Meyer tried to frame that one up, but it did not convince the umpire, so the count goes to 2-0. That's a grounder over to Hurd. Hurd scoops that one up, fires across to Hawk, who makes a great play. The H&H brothers hooking up there. It looks like Hawk might have been pulled off the bag, but he reached around, got the tag down, and that is it. 3 up, 3 down for Utica, just what Mohawk Valley needed. And we're going to go to the bottom of the fourth inning with Utica up 7-3 over Mohawk Valley. We'll be right back.
We know pools. Garrity Pools and Spa are the experts in building and creating backyard memories for thousands of families. Garrity takes pride in offering only the highest quality in-ground Pacific pool and radiant above-ground pools that are built for upstate New York weather. Garrity offers only the best with BioGuard chemicals to keep your pool sparkling clean. Visit the professionals at Garrity Pools and Spa, 234 South Caroline Street, Herkimer, or GarrityPools.com.
All right, and we are back here for the bottom of the fourth inning. Before we get back to action, we want to show you the replay of that play over first base. That was a fantastic play. And here it comes. And there you go. Look at that play right there.
Might have gotten the tag, too.
I think that's what it was. I think he got a tag down. And if you look at the top of his glove, there was the snow cone effect going on, too. So just a great all-around play there by Hawk just to keep the ball in his glove for starters. We're going to watch that again because it was so good. And there, yeah, see, there you go. And look at that. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got this. Because this is what I do. I'm part of the H&H Brothers, and this is what we do on the field. So Dawgs fans have got a lot to look forward to with him this season. All right, we're back to action here, bottom of the fourth inning, and this is going to be Ethan Hughes leading off, the center fielder. And that is high for ball one. And we do have a pitcher's name here for number 61. It's Ted Howell. So I'm being told I might have perhaps mispronounced that, but we'll talk about that after this fly ball goes out to left field. Under it is Tome, and that's it. 1 out. I'm sorry, it's Ted Hahn. Kind of hard to hear up in the press box when you got the earphones on. So Ted Hahn. I apologize, Ted, for mispronouncing your last name first there. All right, so this is Edwin Sanchez, the right fielder up. As Hahn deals, and that's right back through the middle for a base hit. So there you go. If you're the Dawgs, that's what you want. You want to get a runner aboard, and Edwin Sanchez delivers that.
Second baseman, number 7 from Lincoln University.
So now here you go with a runner on first base. Sean Stoney comes up. Sean's the second baseman. We got our bat dog out there getting all those bats. That is so cool. Like I said, once again, awesome. Sanchez on first. Here's the pitch to Stoney. And the ump says that was on the corner, so strike one. Hahn looks over. Here's the pitch. And that's low and inside for ball one. So again, early season here, we don't have much on the scouting report, so we're going to see if Sanchez is going to be a threat to steal here as he leads off. He's taking a taking a decent lead.
He said you wouldn't even have to pay me. I'd do that.
And that is fouled off into the first base stands.
He just did some deals locked in.
George, you don't want to do it, buddy.
It's too late.
So the count goes to 1-2.
I had to go from here down to the hospital and then back home. I had to get pumped with IVs.
And there's the pitch, and that is blooped into short right field. That's, whoa, that drops. Thought he made the play for a second there, but he did not. So Sanchez gets on his horse and gets to second base. So here you go. Now the Dogs are set up. They got runners on first and second base with one out, and that is going to bring up the leadoff batter, John Calabrese. We're going to watch the replay on that real quick here as the bat dog comes out to get the bat. So here it is. Boy, I thought he was going to make the play there for a second, but he did not. And that falls in, fortunately for the DiamondDawgs, as that keeps them going. It was Ryan Ulisse that almost made the play there. So here's the left-hander Calabrese. And that one misses, ball one.
So you can go to the pitcher.
As Hahn looks in. Here's the pitch. And that is laced into right field, too. Ulisse is going to have to make another play. He's back. He does. He makes the catch, leans against the fence. The runners are going to have to hold. Calabrese got it. It just wasn't just enough. As Matt Meyer, the catcher, comes up now. So there's 2 outs here for the Dogs, but they still got runners on first and second. And with 2 outs, those runners are going to be going on contact. So Hahn's pitch, here it is, and that is low for ball one. And Sanchez taking a bigger lead out there. Wants to get the jump. I mean, if Meyer can put this in play. And that's in the dirt. It goes nowhere, though, and that's ball 2, so the runners will hold. Two 2-0 here, 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Dogs down 4, but they're starting to bark again. And that is outside for ball 3. So there you go, 3-0. As Meyer's looking to keep this train moving. Showed bunt on 3-0. That was interesting. Pulled back, of course, and now he draws a walk. So there you go. The bases are loaded full of Dogs, and Ian Oschlager has got a chance to be a hero here. As the designated hitter steps in, the Dogs could really use a base hit here as they're down 4, but they got a great opportunity to get right back in this game. And he laces that one into center field, and it's just going to hang up enough for the center fielder, Connor Jones, to make the play to end the inning. Well, the Dogs barked, but they did not get anything across the plate, and we'll go to the top of the 5th inning with Utica leading 7-3. We'll be right back.
At GPO, we understand every member's journey is unique. That's why our employees take the time to listen, understand, and deliver personalized solutions that fit your life. From budgeting to borrowing, we're with you every step of the way. Your journey, our commitment. GPO Federal Credit Union, committed to excellence.
At Hummel's Office Plus, our customers remain our #1 priority. Hi, Central New York. This is Justin Hummel, CEO of Hummel's Office Plus. If you are in need of a reliable, competitive, and consistent business product supplier, give Hummel's a try. We offer customized pricing, free next-day delivery, and personalized service. With our wide assortment of office supplies, janitorial supplies, furniture, and everything else you need for your workplace, Hummel's is your go-to for all your business products.
Okay, we are back here for the top of the fifth inning as the CNC Music Factory cranking out over the speakers here at Veterans Memorial Park. With your Dogs down 7-3. They had runners on base last inning, just couldn't get anything across. And we still got a lot of baseball left to play. Of course, tonight being a regulation game, we are going to go all 9 innings. So Jonas Sapotnik still on the mound here. He had a great inning last inning, 3 up, 3 down, looking to continue that trend here. Blue Sox coming to bat. They're going to be led off by Waldy Rodriguez, the second baseman. You might be able to hear his teammates on the Utica dugout giving him some encouragement. Big bender there, and that comes in for strike one. There's the pitch. Just missed the corner for ball one. Potnick looks in. Here's the pitch. And that was a little tight there, so ball 2. 2-1 here. No outs. Top of the fifth inning. No runners aboard. And that's in there for strike 2. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. Missed down low, so the count goes full. Here's the pitch from Apotnik, and that is inside for ball 4. So the leadoff runner once again gets aboard for Utica as Waldy Rodriguez draws a walk. And that is going to bring up the left fielder, R.J. Tomei. So Valparaiso, I believe that's out in California. And here's the bunt, lays it down the first base line. Papaknik's got one play at first, which he tosses over to Houck to get the one out. However, Rodriguez advances to second base.
Now batting the center fielder, 83, George Washington University, Connor Jones.
And here comes the center fielder, Connor Jones, with one out, runner on second base. And that one fools Meyer. Gets by him. That means Rodriguez advances to third base. That'd be ruled a pass ball there. So now with one out, runners on third, and the count is 1-0. And that is into right field. Can't quite see it. It's going to land foul. Couldn't quite see. So, count goes to 1-1. I want to remind everybody that this broadcast is being produced by the Creative Outpost. And, of course, all of our camera work is being done by our interns. So I want to give a shout-out to our interns tonight. George Roger, Xavier Regan, you got Tanner Jakeway up here in the booth, and you got Madison Kimball down there on the cameras as well. So great job, guys. Counts 1-1, one out. And that is on the corner for strike 2. As Zapotnik looks in. Here's the pitch, and that is laced into center field. Hughes is, he slipped. Maintains his beat. Here comes the throw home, and it's not going to be in time as Rodriguez crosses the 8th run for Utica tonight, and the score is now 8-3. All right, so the catcher, Vincent Cadre now. He's been having himself a heck of a game tonight. Steps in, no runners aboard now, 2 outs. That one misses for ball 1. And that's on the corner for strike 1. And that's into center field. Ethan Puse is a busy man this inning. He's under that one, though, and that is going to end it. But Utica pushes 1 run across, so we will go to the bottom of the 5th inning with the score, Utica 8, Mohawk Valley 3. We'll be right back.
Little Falls, New York combines the charms of a small town with the conveniences of a much larger city. Of course, you'd expect to find welcoming people, beautiful scenery, family-friendly activities, and plenty to do outdoors. But you might be surprised to find that Little Falls, New York also has an espresso bar, gym shop, art center, French restaurant, antique centers, local hospital, and extensive civic services and amenities. Not to mention homes both beautiful and affordable, nestled in a dramatic natural setting amongst steep hills that descend to the Mohawk River and Erie Canal. Little Falls, New York. It's a great place to spend a few days or a lifetime. Hey fans, tell the world you are here at Veterans Memorial Park watching your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. Share your experiences, connect with other fans, and gain behind-the-scenes access to your favorite team. For more information, visit mvdiamonddogs.com or like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, we're back, and we're going to take a look at that final put out by Ethan Puse out in center field as part of our instant replay feature that we were instituting here at the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs live streams this year, and there it is right there. Look at it, just smooth. I almost thought he was going to do the Ricky Henderson snap catch for a second there, looking at that replay.
Is that his 3rd out tonight?
Now pitching number 14, Ryder Stowasser. Now pitching number 14, Ryder Stowasser from Hope International College.
Okay, so we got a new pitcher here for Utica. I'm going to pull his name up for you in just a second here. I mean, I couldn't quite hear the last name over the awesome music we got going on here tonight. This has just been a rock concert all night long. Between the 80s, now we got Thin Lizzy with The Boys Are Back in Town. Too much fun.
Leading off for the DiamondDawgs, the shortstop number 13 from Herkimer College, Joey Calabretti.
All right, so Joey Calabretti leading off for the Dogs. And that pitcher for Utica is Ryan Stowasser. Or Ryder Stowasser, I'm sorry. And that one's in there for ball 1. And that one misses, ball 2. So there you go. Calabretti in an early hitters count here in the bottom of the 5th inning with the Dogs needing some runs. They're down 5.
It's a weird question, but I have a graphic for him. No, it'll be the coach for our team. He's a little bit left of 3rd place.
I'm not going to.
Oh, yeah, yep, you see him right there.
All right, so 3-0 count here. And there's the pitch. And he misses outside, so there you go. Ball 4, just what the Dogs needed. Well, if they ever got a milk-bone treat, there it is. You get your leadoff runner aboard. That's what you need. So now it's the first baseman, Brandon Haukup, who made that spectacular play to end the inning a couple innings ago there where he reached across and wrapped around with that tag. Fantastic play. So here we go. Runner on first base, no outs. That was in the dirt, but a nice job by Collie to keep it in front of him. As the right-handed Stowasser pitches to the right-handed Hawk. And he got around on that one, but it's foul off the third base fence over there, so the count goes to 1-1. So here you go. The Dogs needing some runs. Got a good opportunity, good start here. Runner on first base, no outs. And change up in there for strike number 2. And Stowasser looks in. Here's the pitch. And that is laced over into right field. Let's see there. He's going to make the play for out number 1. Calibretti's not going to be able to tag up. Is there a bat dog looking for the dog? There it is. He found it.
Number 27 from the University of Albany, Justin Hurd.
And here comes Justin Hurd, tonight's third baseman. As he steps in, looking to get his Dogs going. Needs some offense here. We're into the bottom of the 5th inning. Score is 8-3. And that's in there for strike 1. Got a pretty cool contrast of the clouds that are going by right now. You got some gray clouds along with some pink clouds against a blue sky. Pretty neat. Very picturesque here at Veterans Memorial Park. And that's in the dirt for ball 1, I'm sorry. So the count goes 1-1 here. 1 out, runner on first base. And that one misses high, so ball 2. Good eye by Hurd. So 2-1 count here, 1 out. The Dogs looking to get something going. And that's fouled straight back over our heads to run the count to 2-2. Stowasser looks in. A little peek over shoulder. He goes to the plate, though. And he misses down low, so the count goes full. So with a 3-2 count, runner on first with 1 out. Here's the payoff pitch, and that is in the dirt for ball 4. Ball got away from the catcher, but not going to make any difference because they're going to stop at second. And we have now got runners at first and second. 1 out, and Ethan Pugh coming up. So there you go. You got Calibretti at second base, Hurd at first, Pugh, another Dogs veteran, at the plate. And like I said, was a busy guy last inning out there in center field. And we're having a little chit-chat on the mound here. Just Audrey and Stowasser getting together, making sure everybody's on the same page. Good idea from time to time. So here you go. First and second, Ethan Pugh with a chance to get some RBIs here. And that one misses, ball 1. Yeah, Stowasser looks in. The runner's on first and taking their lead. Not too big a lead, though. And that's laced down the left, foul ball. Well, if he could have gotten that one over about 5 feet, that could have easily scored at least one run. But nonetheless, it fell foul, so the count goes to 1-1. So yeah, you're at the point in the game now where the Dogs have got to start taking advantage of some opportunities here, because you're a little over halfway through the game, but you don't want to watch too many slip away. Eventually, you're going to start running out of runway. As this goes to 2-1 with that ball. So the game is far from over, of course. But again, like I said, you want to start taking advantage of some of these opportunities, just like they did in that first inning when they had opportunity after opportunity, and they just capitalized on all of them. And that's off the end of the bat. Foul run's the count's going to run to 2-2. So here you go with one out. And the runner's on first and second. Pugh's looking to make something happen here for the Dogs. Jammed him. That's foul ball. That got a piece of somebody. It was kind of hard to tell if it was a piece of Pugh's or if it was the catcher, or I don't think it was the umpire, but at any rate, it got a piece of somebody. Somebody felt it. And resulted in a foul ball, so the count's 2-2 here, one out. Bottom of the fifth inning. And that's kind of a flare over to the second baseman who makes the play. No runners, of course, advance. Far too shallow for that. As Waldy Rodriguez makes the play for make it 2 outs here for Utica, well, for the DiamondDawgs. So now Edwin Sanchez, he's gonna have to keep this train moving for the Dogs. Again, you got runners on first and second. You're down 5. You need some runs here. And here's the pitch. And that is inside, ball 1.
So, if I'm looking at this and I see someone's camera start shaking, something go wrong, or maybe a play's happening and both of the cameras are trying to go for it. Crutch camera, this one, camera 3. Everything's going wrong.
And that is low as well, ball 2, so there you go. Good start for Sanchez here to this at-bat. Right now, the Dogs need a spark. They need something to get them going here. And he fouls that one off into his own dugout. The count goes to 2-1.
But the biggest thing is, I know you know baseball, so it's going to be pretty good for you. It's kind of knowing the game and being able to communicate a position where you want your
2-1. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. And that is low for ball 3. So for those of you who are kind of unfamiliar with Veterans Memorial Park, this is the main field, but there are several other fields around it. There's the Little League field off the left, up beyond left field. There's a couple of softball fields. There's a Babe Ruth field. Lots going on here. That's strike 2. Run the count full here with 2 outs. Bottom of the fifth inning, runners on first and second. If you look over in right field, right next to the scoreboard, there's the big building there. It's got the football player on it. That's because Little Falls Papa Warner plays here in the fall out in the outfield. So, fun facts about Veterans Memorial Park. There goes the runners. Down the third base line, foul ball. I do remember at one time high school football used to play down here too in the same spot out in the outfield. As a matter of fact, that's where they played when I was in school. So you're talking way back here. But the Little Falls High School has a new football facility up there. Well, not new, but they put a lot of work into it. And they got lights up there now. It's a very nice facility, and that's where they play. So with the full count, here's the pitch. Runners going. Ball 4. So there you go. Sanchez draws the walk. So now you got bases loaded here. They're down 5, but they got a real good opportunity here to get some runs across as Sean Stoney, the second baseman, comes up.
From Lincoln University, Sean Stoney.
So more than likely, if this is a pop ball,
There you go. Stowasser's in a bit of a jam here, but he gets his first strike there to Stoney, so it's 0-1. With the bases juice, the Dogs would love nothing more than to squeeze that juice and get some runs. And that one misses low for ball one. And Stowasser looks in. The pitch, and that is on the corner for the inside corner for strike two. So here you go. It comes right down to this. You got bases loaded. You got a 1-2 count with 2 outs. And here's the pitch. Oh, that was a delayed call there. I wasn't sure if he called that a strike or not, but he did. So caught looking for strike three. Strands the runners on, bases loaded. And we are going to go to the top of the 6th inning with the score 8-3, Utica leading. We'll be right back.
Little Falls, New York combines the charms of a small town with the conveniences of a much larger city. Of course, you'd expect to find welcoming people, beautiful scenery, family-friendly activities, and plenty to do outdoors. But you might be surprised to find that Little Falls, New York also has an espresso bar, gem shop, art center, French restaurant, antique centers, local hospital, and extensive civic services and amenities. Not to mention homes both beautiful and affordable, nestled in a dramatic natural setting amongst steep hills that descend to the Mohawk River and Erie Canal. Little Falls, New York. It's a great place to spend a few days or a lifetime. Hey fans, tell the world you are here at Veterans Memorial Park watching your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. Share your experiences, connect with other fans, and gain behind-the-scenes access to your favorite team. For more information, visit mvdiamonddogs.com or like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
We're back for the top of the 6th inning here as Utica leads 8-3 over Mohawk Valley. Jonas Apotnik still on the mound for the Dogs. As the warm-ups are all done here, we're just about ready to get playing some baseball. Looks like leading off is going to be the shortstop, Matt Clayla. And he rips that first pitch into right field. Right there is Sanchez, though. One swing, one out. That one seemed to have a homing device in on Sanchez's glove. He didn't have to move much. And that is going to bring up the first baseman, Brian Guzman. Yes, here's the pitch from Apotnik. And that is in there for strike one. Lots of movement, but just missed. So the count goes to 1-1 there. And here's the pitch. And that misses for ball two. Well, Podnick showing off his arsenal of pitches here. The count's 2-1. And that's high for ball three.
Second prize is a quarter sleeve youth shirt. Quarter sleeve youth shirt 796-445.
The count is 3-1. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss for strike two. That was a healthy cut there by Guzman. So count is now full with one out and nobody aboard here in the top of the 6th inning. Just missed outside, draws the walk.
place prize.
That was close.
$65 goes from 796 to 176. 796.
So, with one out, that's going to bring up the designated hitter, Sean Sousa.
225 for the short, 796. 445 for the shirt.
And if the lefty steps in, you know, the Dogs have also got to feed these players throughout the season, so they're looking for help from local restaurants. If you want to provide a post-game meal for these Diamond Dogs, please email Travis at mpdiamonddogs.com. As I tell you, you know, these dogs, they play hard and they want to eat too, so let's give them a hand. The first pitch misses for ball one. So wing and a miss for strike one. Guzman not taking that big of a lead over there on first. And thus far, Potnick really pretty much ignoring him over there. So the count goes to 2-1. One out here. Like I said, runner on first. And that is in the dirt for ball three. So the count now goes to 3-1. Potnick looks in. Now he takes a look over to first. And here's the pitch. A little off-speed pitch, fouled off down the third baseline, out of play.
Houston, we have a problem.
So the count runs full. Potnick looks in. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. That's just what the Dogs needed. So there you go. 2 outs now for the Diamond Dogs, as they need to really stop the Sox here in this inning. You got to stop this offense. You got to slow them down, regroup, and get your own offense going. And this is one heck of a start and a way to do it. As Ryan Ulysses, the right fielder, comes in. And that one's in there for strike one. Ulysses has been pretty busy out there in right field himself tonight, so the outfielder's getting a workout. There's a chopper down the first baseline, foul. And that was a really loud phone ring right there. I'm not sure. Old school, that was. Counts 0-2 here, 2 outs. There's a Potnick looking to shut it down here. Swing and a miss, and he does that with the high cheddar. So there you go. No runs across for Utica, and we will go to the bottom of the 6th inning with Utica up 8-3 over Mohawk Valley. We'll be right back.
Visit the Daily Post and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the Mohawk Valley. Our mission is to generate interest in the area and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our podcast, or sign up for our weekly email newsletter. Stop by today at thedailypost.digital. You'll be glad you did.
Some people might think that the tire shop in Canajoharie only does tires. Nah, that's only their name. The tire shop does so much more. Oil changes, custom wheels, interstate batteries, computer wheel balancing, tire repair service and recapping, auto accessories, tire chains, ag bags, bale and net wrap, and much more. And when it comes to tires, the tire shop in Canajoharie also does so much more. Lawn and garden tires, off the road, backhoe, loader tires, log skidder, agricultural, ATV and UTV tires, and on the farm tire services. services. The Tire Shop is a multi-line new tire dealer. That means they're quite a choice for top brand name tires for your car, truck, SUV, semi-tractor, and trailer, all at great prices. They're also a Goodyear national accounts and state contract pricing location. Financing available too. Find more information and a list of services at thetireshop.biz. Thetireshop.biz. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 6. Yes, Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Tire Shop, 155 Erie Boulevard in Canajoharie.
And we are back for the bottom of the sixth inning here as there is a new pitcher for the Utica Blue Sox in the form of Matthew Callaghan. Well, that was a dramatic dive down to the mound as they went down to second to the end of the warm-up, so this could be entertaining on top of it all. It's like Matthew's kind of one of those, got that sidearm delivery, so they can tend to throw a batter off. And speaking of batters, here come the Dawgs. We're at the top of the order here with John Calabrese, the left fielder. So here we go with the Dawgs needing some runs. Callaghan looks in, and here's the pitch, and that is outside for ball one. As Calabrese digs in, he's ready. Here's the pitch, and that's outside for ball two.
Mohawk Valley, the left.
So the line here out on that scoreboard out in right field is Utica 8 runs, 5 hits, no errors. Your Dawgs 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. As that pitch misses outside as well, so the count runs to 3-0. And boy, do the Dawgs need Calabrese on base right now. And that one's on the corner for strike one. And as Callaghan looks in, here's the windup, here's the pitch. Oh, the umpire said that was in the strike zone, so the count runs full. Some here at Veterans Memorial Park would disagree, but nonetheless, it is a strike, and we have a full count. And here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss for strike three. Calabrese goes down on strikes, and here comes the catcher, Matt Meyer.
From Rockport University, Matt Meyer.
All right, so with one out, Mayer digs in. The Dawgs really need some base runners here. Callaghan looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. That curves right in for strike one. We do know that traditionally these two clubs can score a lot of runs, and of course tonight you have a combined 11 runs between the two of them, so they've certainly shown that that trend's probably going to continue this season. That one's fouled off. Count goes to 0-2. As Callaghan looks in, let's see if he tries to get him to chase some high heat here or maybe one in the dirt. And he tried the high heat, and Mayer was not biting on that one at all, so the count goes to 1-2. As a batter, sometimes it's really hard to lay off that high cheese, but no soup for you, as they would say. And here's the pitch, and that is low and outside for ball two. So there you go, battling back in the count. We're now up to 2-2 with one out, no runners aboard in the bottom of the sixth inning. And a big swing and a miss for strike two, or strike three, I'm sorry. So that's out number two. And so far, Callaghan's come in and struck out both batters he's faced, so that is going to bring up the DH, Ian Oschlager. Ian plays his college ball at RPI. He's got 2 outs right now with no runners aboard, so the sole survivor so far here in the lineup in this inning, so he needs to get aboard and keep that moving. And here's the pitch. It's a little high and tight, ball 2. Two-0 count here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2 outs. Dawgs down 5. And here's the pitch from Callaghan. And that's on the corner. Strike 1. Count goes to 2-1. And here's the pitch, and that is tight as well. All three. Well, it almost looked like it was going to hit him at first, and then it kind of just curved back inside just enough to miss him. So the count goes 3-1, 2 outs here, nobody on. As Callaghan looks in, here's the windup, here's the pitch. And that is, sounded like he broke his bat. Yeah, he did. And there's the play. Whoa, boy, oh boy. Boy, that was a really close play because it's really hard to tell right from this angle whether or not Guzman was able to stay on the bag. But the umpire said he did, and that's what counts in the final say of it all. So that is the end of the inning. 3 up, 3 down for the Dogs. Nobody gets across, and we will go to the top of the 7th inning with Utica leading 8-3.
At NBT Bank, we know that this day starts with this one. This day starts with this one. Because no matter how unforgettable the extraordinary days are, there's a lot of every day that leads up to them. You can count on NBT Bank to help you get started. NBT Bank, it starts here.
Wake up and smell the sizzle at your local Burger King. Burger King is open for breakfast 7 days a week. Your mornings deserve the royal treatment. So dive in to try our delicious breakfast sandwiches, savor our savory hash browns, and wash it all down with a hot or iced coffee. Whether it's Monday or Sunday, we've got your breakfast cravings covered. Swing by BK today to have it your way. You rule at participating U.S. restaurants during breakfast hours.
And we are back here for the top of the 7th inning at Veterans Memorial Park with the Utica Blue Sox leading 8-3 over the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. And the DiamondDawgs have a new pitcher in the form of left-hander Walter Garrett. Garrett plays his college ball at Trinity College out there, Hartford, Connecticut. So when he's not here in Little Falls, he is a Trinity Bantam.
Now pitching for Mohawk Valley, number 44, Walter Garrett.
And he is going to be tasked here with holding this Utica offense at bay so that his team can get a chance to get back in this game. As they trail by 5, as we're getting into the later stages of this game.
Getting on for Utica, third baseman number 10 from Millersville University, Xavier Smith.
And Xavier Smith steps in. He's a third baseman tonight for Utica. As he faces the left-handed throwing Garrett. And that's in there for strike 1 on the corner. As Garrett looks in, Meyer's still behind the plate for the Dogs. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 2. So an 0-2 count here early. And there's the pitch. He missed up high, so the count goes 1-2. here's the pitch. It's in there for strike 3 right on the corner. Strikeout number 1 for Garrett. So there's what the Dogs wanted to see. That early strikeout there for Garrett. And that's going to bring Waldy Rodriguez up. Rodriguez, of course, the second baseman for Utica. As Garrett pitching from the stretch. Here's the pitch. And misses on that one, ball 1. And he looks in, gets the signal from Meyer. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. And that is on the inside corner, strike 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody aboard here in the top of the 7th inning. There's the pitch. Off the end of the bat, foul ball down past the Dogs dugout. Count goes to 1-2. As Rodriguez will, of course, be in protect the plate mode here with 2 strikes. And that's another big strikeout for Garrett. So fire up the lawnmowers because he has been mowing down the batters so far. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Garrett as we got 2 outs with nobody aboard, and R.J. Tomei, the left fielder, coming up. Garrett looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And misses outside. Ball 1. Eight to 3 here in the top of the 7th inning. You're doing most of their damage earlier in this game. That's down low for ball 2. Score was tied after 2 innings, and then the Blue Sox put 4 up on the board in the 3rd inning. And then another one in the 5th. I'm sorry, the 6th. Oh, it was the 5th. I kept trying to see the scoreboard out there, so it's the 5th inning. That one's in the dirt for ball 3. So 3-0 here. Garrett needs a strike. And it is outside for ball 4. So Tomei draws a 2-out walk here to get on board. And that's going to bring up Connor Jones, the center fielder.
Now batting the center fielder, number 83 from George Washington University, Connor Jones.
So as Garrett looks over, here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss for strike 1. Garrett looks in, here's the pitch, and a little low and outside, ball 1. So the count goes to 1-1 here, 2 outs, runner on first base. As the Dogs looking to limit that to just 1 runner on first base. And that is flared foul down the first base line into the stands. Count goes to 1-2 with 2 outs. So Garrett looks in, gets his sign, looks over, here's the pitch. And it's a chopper towards Hurd, and that's going to dribble foul. Which is a good thing for the Dogs because Jones was certainly motoring down the first base pad. That would have been a tough play for Hurd to make. So we're going to do it over again here. Counts 1-2, 2 outs, runner on first base. As Garrett looks in, here's the pitch. And high and outside, ball 2. So Deuce is wild out there on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. As Garrett looks in, here's the pitch. And that is just over the shortstop's glove and into center field. Hughes comes up throwing to third. It gets by Hurd. But a very, very heads-up play by Walter Garrett, backing him up at third base. You know, it's too bad that it got away from Hurd, but that's the kind of stuff you like to see. That is fundamentally strong right there by Garrett. And that's why they always tell you from Little League on, back up your players, because those kinds of things can happen. So it saves a run for now, as the runners are on second and third now with 2 outs. And that brings up the leadoff hitters, Vincent Kadri. That misses outside, ball 1. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 1. So Garrett now dealing runners on second and third, looking to get out of a jam here, but he's got 2 outs, so all he's got to do is get 1 more. And his Dogs come up to the bat. And that one gets away from Meyer. It got into the dirt, and that is going to score a run, so it's now 9-3 Utica. And Stomey comes in to score. It's been kind of a problem tonight. Once that ball gets in the dirt, it's so hard to tell where it's going to go. And as I've said several times over, there's a lot of real estate behind home plate here at Vets. So that's a swing and a miss. Strike 2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. And the Dogs looking to get out of this inning. Runner on third base. And here's the pitch, and that's lifted into center field. Ethan Hughes is under it, and he has got it. That is going to end the inning. However, Utica does score 1 run. So going into the bottom of the 7th inning, it's the Utica Blue Sox 9, the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs 3, and we will be right back.
Spring into action and get started on your home projects with Little Falls Lumber. Get your free estimate today for that project, big or small. Little Falls Lumber, they're always happy to help.
Stop by one of our 3 convenient locations and speak to one of our knowledgeable salesmen about your next project.
At Hummel's Office Plus, our customers remain our #1 priority. Hi, Central New York. This is Justin Hummel, CEO of Hummel's Office Plus. If you are in need of a reliable, competitive, and consistent business product supplier, give Hummel's a try. We offer customized pricing, free next-day delivery, and personalized service. With our wide assortment of office supplies, janitorial supplies, furniture, and everything else you need for your workplace, Hummel's is your go-to for all your business products.
And we are back for the bottom of the 7th inning here at Veterans Memorial Park as the DiamondDawgs trail Utica 9-3. If there's ever a time for the Dogs to get going, now is the time. We're getting into the later innings here, and you don't want to stall for too much longer on offense because they're running out of time. But they still got time, and of course, the Diamond Dog Nation, they still have faith in their Diamond Dogs. So 3 innings of baseball, 2.5 innings of baseball left. Let's see what they can do. And Joey Calabretti steps in. And he is the shortstop tonight for the Dogs. And here's the pitch. And he misses outside, so Matt Callaghan still in there for Utica, out on the pitcher's mound. And here's the pitch, swing and a miss, strike one. Got a right-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter here. And that's flared off foul into the past the stands and into the woods here on the third base side at Veterans Memorial Park. Over the river and through the woods to Veterans Park we go. You guys can tell me to stop at any time now. At any rate, 1-2 is the count, no outs. Here at the bottom of the seventh inning, nobody aboard. And that is outside for ball two. As Ready steps back in, Callaghan gets ready to deliver. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. And that is fouled back to the cage. So we'll go right back to the 2-2 count here. So the line so far tonight, the Utica Blue Sox, 9 runs on 6 hits and no errors. The Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs, 3 runs on 4 hits and 1 error. As Callaghan looks in, here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. So with 1 out, the first baseman, Brandon Hawks, coming up.
Now batting the first baseman, number 23 from St. Thomas Aquinas College, Brandon Hawk.
As the Dogs down 6 here. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. As the sidearm throwing Callaghan deals, and that is ball 1. And here's the pitch. A little high and tight, ball and 2. We got a 2-0 count here, 1 out. Nobody aboard for the Dogs. And here's the pitch, and that one hit him. So that's certainly one way to get aboard, I guess. And again, Brandon Hawk's a tough guy. He just took that pitch right off the back there and took his base. So the Dogs have got a runner aboard here with 1 out. And Justin Hurd coming up, tonight's third baseman.
Now batting the third baseman, number 27, Justin Hurd.
As Hawk takes his lead off first base. Callaghan looks in. Here's the pitch. There's a throwdown. That was close. Hawk dives in under the tag. I believe he called that pitch a strike. So Callaghan looks in. They think the Hawk might go. So that's lifted into center field. That's a long run. And he makes the play out in center field. Connor Jones with a long run and a backhand grab right at the fence. So it's a long out number 2 there for Justin Hurd. As Hawk has to get back to first base, and Ethan Pughes, the center fielder, comes up with 2 outs. The Dogs down 6. They need some runs here. As Callaghan looks in, here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss from Pughes. So the count's 0-1 here. And here's the pitch. A swing and a miss for strike 2. So Hughes is going to have to protect the plate here. As Hawk takes his lead off first base. And there's the pitch and a swing and a miss for strike three. So Hawk got aboard on the first base, but that was it as the Dogs strand him right there. So after 7 full innings of play here at Veterans Memorial Park, Utica leads Mohawk Valley 9-3. We will be right back.
At GPO, we understand every member's journey is unique. That's why our employees take the time to listen, understand, and deliver personalized solutions that fit your life. From budgeting to borrowing, we're with you every step of the way. Your journey, our commitment. GPO Federal Credit Union, committed to excellence.
Hey fans, tell the world you are here at Veterans Memorial Park watching your Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. Share your experiences, connect with other fans, and gain behind-the-scenes access to your favorite team. For more information, visit mvdiamonddogs.com or like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
And we are back for the top of the 8th inning here with the Dogs trailing Utica 9-3. Walter Garrett remains in the game on the bump for the Dogs. As the tall left-hander gets ready to deliver, and there's the first pitch. And that is ball 1. So leading off the top of the 8th here for Utica is the shortstop, Matt Kalela. Being in the 8th inning, as Yogi Berra used to say, it's getting pretty late early out there. And that is outside for ball 2. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. That's on the corner for strike 1. As Garrett looks in, here's the windup, here's the pitch. And he is in there for strike 2. It's in on the 2-2 count. Here's the windup, here's the pitch. And that is grounded over to the second baseman, scoops it up and fires it over. Nice play there by Stoney. Fires it over to Hawk, and that is out number 1. And now the first baseman, Brian Guzman, is up for Utica. And that one gets to the backstop, but no harm, no fouls. There was no runners aboard. Ball 1. Garrett looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And that's outside for ball 2. The Dogs battery gets their signal together. Here's the pitch. And that is in the dirt for ball 3. So the count goes at 3-0 here with 1 out, nobody aboard here in the top of the 8th inning. As Garrett delivers, and that is outside for a 4-pitch walk. So Guzman gets aboard. That's going to bring up the DH, Sean Sousa.
Now batting, designated hitter number 17, George Washington University, Sean Sousa.
And that one, ooh, that one stung. He got away from Meyer. That's going to be, he's going to get to second base, Guzman is, and that's going to be all. But I think that one got Matt Mayer where the padding isn't. So if you can tell by the way that ball came out, that stung. But he's, like I said, he's a tough guy. He's going to walk it off. Yeah, he's definitely feeling it. So let me give that man a nice pack after the game. Counts 1-0 here. 1 out, runner on second base. As Garrett looks in, here's the pitch. And that one buzzed by Sousa inside, ball 2. As Garrett looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. Ooh, boy. So it looks like they're going to charge Garrett with a balk, but it looks like his cleat got caught up in the turf there, and obviously not intentional. Well, with that, Guzman's going to advance to third base. Just one of those nights, folks. You know, you just have them. It's one of those things where nothing goes right, and it is what it is. We still got time left, though. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Counts 2-1. 1 out. Runners on third base. And that's a chopper over to Houck. Is that going to be... It's going to be called foul. So the run will not score on that play. And the count goes to 2-2. Very appropriate song over there. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. The late, great John Lennon. For sure. All right, here's the pitch. And that bounced off somebody down there for a foul ball. So the count remains at 2-2 with 1 out and a runner on third base here. So we get set to do this all over again. Counts at 2-2 as Garrett looks in. And that's laced into center field. Ethan Pugh's on the run. It's going to drop. That's going to drop in. That's going to be an RBI single for Sousa. And that makes the score 10-3 Utica.
Now batting the right fielder, number 15 from the Lafayette College, Ryan Ulysses.
So Ryan Ulysses, the right fielder, coming up. And the Blue Sox cruising here with a 10-3 lead. As Garrett looks in, there's the pitch, and that is outside for ball 1. One thing we haven't seen a lot from either team tonight is any stolen base attempts. And there's a swing and a miss. So the count goes to 1-1 here with 1 out. And that's outside for ball 2. So as Garrett looks in, here's the wind up, here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss, make it strike 2-2. And as Ulysses steps out of the box for a second, and he jumps right back in. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. So that is what Garrett and the Dogs needed right there. A strikeout to make it 2 outs. And that is going to bring Xavier Smith up, the third baseman. So the Dogs looking to hold this just 1 run up here in the top of the 8th inning. That is low for ball one. Yeah, Sousa takes a small lead off first base. And that's flared off into the first base stands. Which we can tell by that loud aluminum bang there. So the count goes to 1-1 here with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. Ooh, that was inside, almost hit him. And there's the pitch, and that is in there for strike 2. Deuce is wild out on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. And that's flared off into right field. That's going to drop in front of Sanchez for a base hit. Strong throw into third base is going to hold the runner at second base. So Sousa on second. That's going to put Smith at first, and that is going to bring Waldy Rodriguez to the plate, the Sox second baseman. As once again, Utica getting timely hitting with 2 outs here. You've been doing that all game long. And if you can get timely 2-out hitting, that's usually a recipe for success. That's fouled off into the tennis courts. Go get your souvenir, kids. So the count's 0-1 here. As Garrett looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And he misses. Count goes to 1-1. And that is fouled directly back to the cage. So that makes the count 1-2 here with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. And the Dogs badly needing a third out here. And that is in the dirt underneath Meyer. Runners are advancing, and there's no throw. So you now once again have Deuces Wild out on that scoreboard with 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. But now you have runners on second and third base. And with 2 outs, of course, if there's contact, those runners will be running. And it's into, so flare into right field. There's Stoney, though, makes the play to end the inning. So Utica gets another run. And going into the bottom of the 8th inning, it's going to be the Blue Sox leading 10-3 over the DiamondDawgs. We'll be right back.
Little Falls, New York combines the charms of a small town with the conveniences of a much larger city. Of course, you'd expect to find welcoming people, beautiful scenery, family-friendly activities, and plenty to do outdoors. But you might be surprised to find that Little Falls, New York also has an espresso bar, gem shop, art center, French restaurant, antique centers, local hospital, and extensive civic services and amenities. Not to mention homes both beautiful and affordable, nestled in a dramatic natural setting amongst steep hills that descend to the Mohawk River and Erie Canal. Little Falls, New York. It's a great place to spend a few days or a lifetime.
Some people might think that the tire shop in Canajoharie only does tires. Nah, that's only their name. The tire shop does so much more. Oil changes, custom wheels, interstate batteries, computer wheel balancing, tire repair service and recapping, auto accessories, tire chains, ag bags, bale and net wrap, and much more. And when it comes to tires, the tire shop in Canajoharie also does so much more. Lawn and garden tires, off the road, backhoe, loader tires, log skidder, agricultural, ATV and UTV tires, and on the farm tire services. The tire shop is a multi-line new tire dealer. That means they're quite a choice for top brand name tires for your car, truck, SUV, semi-tractor, and trailer, all at great prices. They're also a Goodyear national accounts and state contract pricing location. Financing available too. Find more information and a list of services at thetireshop.biz. Thetireshop.biz. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 6. Yes, Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Tire Shop, 155 Erie Boulevard in Canajoharie.
Okay, we are back for the bottom of the 8th inning here as the DiamondDawgs trail the Blue Sox 10-3. And they're singing about all the single ladies here on the PA system. Well, I will tell you that the Dogs need singles, and they need a lot of them. They got some runs to make up here. And leading off for the Dogs this inning is going to be the right fielder, Edwin Sanchez. And remaining on the bump for Utica is pitcher Matt Callaghan.
Leading off the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs, the right fielder number 28 from Siena College, Edwin Sanchez.
So here we go. Sanchez and Callaghan squaring off. And here's the pitch. First pitch swinging, strike one. As Callaghan looks in, he begins his windup, and here's the pitch. And that is low, ball one. And here's the 1-1. And that is laced right at the first baseman for a line drive out. And it was Guzman making a heck of a play out there to get Sanchez.
For the DiamondDawgs, the second baseman number 7 from Lincoln University.
And that is going to bring up Sean Stoney, the Dogs' second baseman. As our bat dog out there doing his job. Look at that. That is so awesome. I hope we see more of that bat dog this season because I think he is just the coolest thing on pause. I'll tell you that. And that's inside for strike one. You know we need to get him a Dawgs jersey. You know, like those pet jerseys? I think we need one for that bat dog. Counts 0-1. And here's the pitch. And fouled off to run the count to 0-2. And just like that, Stoney's behind in the count 0-2 with one out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Nobody aboard. As Callaghan goes to work, here's the pitch. That's outside for ball one. You'll see that oftentimes with pitchers, if they're heading a count like on an 0-2, they'll throw in a little bit out of the strike zone, see if they can get the hitter to chase it, because why not? You're already up 0-2 in the count. You got a pitch to give. Stoney very wisely did not bite, but he swings and misses there, and that is strike three. So that is 2 outs in this inning for the Dogs. And that is going to bring up the leadoff hitter, John Calabrese.
Now batting the left fielder number 3 from Bucknell University, John Calabrese.
So the left-hander digs in. So the Dogs are running out of time here. Now get some runners aboard. And that's a healthy cut but missed. Strike one. So with an 0-1 count here, Callaghan looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And that is low for ball one. So the count goes to 1-1.
Okay, so this is different. We're getting. You see how that's cutting?
And here's the pitch. And fouled off for strike two. So the count goes to 1-2 here. 1-2 is the count to Calabrese with 2 outs here. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Dawgs trailing by 7. As Callaghan looks in, here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss for strike 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Dawgs in this half of the 8th inning. So we'll go to the top of the 9th with Utica leading 10-3. We'll be right back.
If you are looking for some shopping and dining, head on over to Canal Place, where you will find quaint shops, galleries, restaurants, and inns situated in the old mill buildings and storefronts along the waterfront of Canal Place. They've become known as the happening place for the arts in the Mohawk Valley. Not so long ago, many of these buildings were working mills serving the garment industry. Even today, after conversion to serve as retail space, many of these rugged but lovely structures speak to our great regional manufacturing heritage. If you're looking for fine arts, entertainment, or antiques, you simply must pay a visit to Canal Place.
Wake up and smell the sizzle at your local Burger King. Burger King is open for breakfast 7 days a week. Your mornings deserve the royal treatment. So dive in to try our delicious breakfast sandwiches, savor our savory hash browns, and wash it all down with a hot or iced coffee. Whether it's Monday or Sunday, we've got your breakfast cravings covered. Swing by BK today to have it your way. You rule at participating U.S. restaurants during breakfast hours.
And we are back for the top of the 9th inning here at Veterans Memorial Park with the Utica Blue Sox leading 10-3 over the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs. And the DiamondDawgs have a new pitcher in the form of a returning Diamond Dog. Left-hander Aiden Calagrande's in.
Stony Brook University, ranked team, Aiden Colagrande.
So I heard in Pews, Aiden Calagrande making his return to Little Falls here for this season. And leading off for Utica is going to be the left fielder, R.J. Tomei.
Leading off, the left fielder number 12. RJ.
Yes, here we go. Top of the 9th inning. To say the Dogs need to hold him here would be an understatement, but here's the first pitch from Calagrande, and that is in there for strike 1. As the lefty looks in, he deals, and that's high for ball 1. As now with the sun down, it's cooled off quite a bit here at Veterans Memorial Park, but it's still a nice night for baseball. That one catches the outside corner, makes it 1-2. No wind whatsoever. There's the pitch, and that misses ball 2. So the count runs to 2-2. As Calagrande looks in, here's the pitch, and that is outside for ball 3. And a full count at 3-2 here. No outs, top of the 9th, no runners aboard. And there's the pitch, and that misses for ball 4. So the leadoff runner gets aboard for Utica, and that is going to bring up the center field. No, we're going to have It is Connor Jones. Okay. All right. Couldn't quite see the number.
Washington University, Connor Jones.
So it's the center fielder, Connor Jones. It looked like him, but then I thought I saw a different number. I was kind of getting blocked off by the post here, so. Yeah, yes, as you can see, folks, I get it from all angles around here. It's the head of Warner University back there reminding me that there's a throwdown, and that is not in time. You know, I just mentioned last inning we haven't seen too many stolen base attempts, and he must have been listening to me. Nice throw by Meyer. He got it on there on a beeline, just could not get it there in time. So Tomei is on second base now with a 1-1 count here to Jones, and he fouls that one off to run the count to 1-2. As Kyle Grande looks in, takes a look over at second base. Here's the pitch. Ooh, boy, that was right off the bicep. Ouch. And that was certainly a fastball. That stung. So that's going to put runners on first and second with no outs here in the top of the ninth inning. And it brings up the catcher, Vincent Cowdrey. Been having a good night here, so Utica with a chance to tack on some even more runs here. Cal Grande delivers and misses high, ball one. And there's the pitch, swing and a miss for strike one. So the count goes to 1-1 here. No outs. Runners on first and second. Cal Grande in an early jam here. And a swing and a miss for strike two. So the best way to get out of it, throw strikes. So Cal Grande looks in. Takes a glance over at second base. And here's the pitch. And that is fouled off down the first base side, out of play. Count remains at 1-2. The Dogs trailing by 7 here, trying to keep it at that. And here's the pitch. Outside, misses, ball two. Count runs to 2-2. Cal Grande looks in, takes a look around. Here's the windup, here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss, strike three, which is exactly what he needed. And that is going to bring up the shortstop, Matt Kalela.
The shortstop, number 56 from Lafayette College, Matt Kalela.
So now there's one out. Dogs infield, of course, in double play depth, looking to get out of this. And Cal Grande would love nothing more than to deliver a nice playable ground ball to them to turn that to. That one gets away from Meyer, but not enough for the runners to advance. Ball one. Cal Grande looks in, takes a look back a second. Here's the pitch. And that is down the left field line, fair ball. One run's going to score. And runners are going to stop at third. Kalela pulls into second, and that's an RBI double. And the score is now 11-3. Runners at second and third now with one out.
Number 29 from New Mexico Junior College, Brian Guzman.
And Brian Guzman's up. He is the first baseman for the Utica Blue Sox tonight. And just one of those nights where nothing can go right for the Dogs. That's a swing and a miss. They will not bring the infield in. So the count's at 0-1.
So once I know where these cameras are, I'll look at them. So I know that.
And I will tell you this, that Connor Jones is taking a sizable lead down there at third base. So an 0-2 count here with one out. I'm not sure if he's thinking he actually wants to try to steal home or what, but I'm kind of shorten that lead up a little bit now, but that's a misses for ball one, so it counts 1-2. As Kyle Grande looks in, here's the pitch. A swing and a miss. Strike three. All right, so there's two outs. Runner's still at second and third, but that is going to bring out the designated hitter, Sean Sousa. As Utica now up by 8 runs here. Runner's still at second and third with 2 outs. And that's a little flare into left field, charging, and what a play made right there. Nice play by the left fielder, John Calabrese, to get out of the inning. However, Utica does score one more run, and going into the bottom of the ninth, it's Utica 11, Mohawk Valley 3. Last licks for the Dogs coming up. We'll be right back.
At NBT Bank, we know that this day starts with this one. This day starts with this one. Because no matter how unforgettable the extraordinary days are, there's a lot of every day that leads up to them. You can count on NBT Bank to help you get started. NBT Bank, it starts here.
Some people might think that the tire shop in Canajoharie only does tires. Nah, that's only their name. The tire shop does so much more. Oil changes, custom wheels, interstate batteries, computer wheel balancing, tire repair service and recapping, auto accessories, tire chains, ag bags, bale and net wrap, and much more. And when it comes to tires, the tire shop in Canajoharie also does so much more. Lawn and garden tires, off the road, backhoe, loader tires, log skidder, agricultural, ATV and UTV tires, and on the farm tire services. The tire shop is a multi-line new tire dealer. That means they're quite a choice for top brand name tires for your car, truck, SUV, semi-tractor, and trailer, all at great prices. They're also a Goodyear national accounts and state contract pricing location. Financing available too. Find more information and a list of services at thetireshop.biz. Thetireshop.biz. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 6. Yes, Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Tire Shop, 155 Erie Boulevard in Canajoharie.
Okay, it's do or die here for the Dogs in the bottom of the ninth, trailing by 8, and Matt Mayer is going to lead it off. Got to try to get something going here against the Utica Blue Sox. And that's right back up through the middle. Slow roller that's going to sneak through. All right, so an infield hit. That's what you wanted, Meyer, getting aboard. That lead-off batter, it's so important. So, yeah, they're down 8, but there is still hope here in Dog Nation. And that is going to bring up our designated hitter, Ian Oschlager. Still pitching for Utica right now is Matthew Callaghan, so, which is not unsurprising given there's an 8-run lead here for Utica. And I tell you, he's been throwing a good game when I think he's been in 3 innings now, I believe. And that one's in there for strike 1. Oh, my apologies. That is a new pitcher. I didn't even realize it. Oh, kind of hard to tell up here. All right, so anyways, Callaghan was throwing a really good game when he was in there, folks. So It's Trey Ekman's in there now for Utica, boy. But listen, beginning of the season, we've got bugs to work out, guys. That's all I can tell you. Count is 2-1. And that is on the inside corner for strike 2. I probably should, he's not quite the sidearm thrower that Callaghan was. But oh well. All right, counts 2-2 here to Olschlager. And that is grounded foul. So the count remains at 2-2. With a runner on first here, the Dawgs looking to, but you got to chip away the stone, and that is going to make it through into left field. Base hit, Olschlager, so there you go. First two runners get aboard. Runners on first and second now, no outs, and that is going to bring up the shortstop, Joey Calabretti.
From Herkimer College, Joey Calabretti.
Well, you know the saying, you got to chip away the stone, right? So if you can get 1 to get 2 to get 3 to get 4 to get 5 to get 6 to get 7 to get 8, and there you go. You got a tie game. Got to be optimists, folks. Got to have some optimism. And there's the pitch. And that misses high. Ball 1. Well, the 1-0 count. Here's Calabretti fouls that one. That's going to get out of play. And it landed on the asphalt, and it bounced around about 17 times, and it has finally come to a stop. All right, so the count's 1-1 here. No outs. Runners on first and second for the Dawgs. Bottom of the ninth, trailing 8. And here's the pitch from Ekman. And that is high and away. Ball 3. Oh, ball 2, sorry.
Predicting the future.
Hey, listen. And here's the pitch. And that is popped up down the left field line, fading. No, he's going to make the play. That's going to be the first out of the inning, and the runners do not advance. It was R.J. Tome out there with the catch.
Now batting the first baseman, number 23 from St. Thomas Aquinas University, Brandon Huck.
And Brandon Huck steps in with 1 out now, and runners on first and second. Ooh, look out. And I would say that was inside, but that was behind him, so you can kind of say that was inside out for ball 1. And that is popped up behind second base. And that is out number 2. And Kalela pulls that one in. So the Dawgs are down to their last out. And Justin Hurd steps in. As Ekman looks in, he's got runners on first and second. The Dawgs are down to their last out here. And that's in there for strike one. As the count's now 0-1. There's the pitch, and that is fouled straight back at us. Count now 0-2. Dawgs down to their last strike. As Hurd steps back in. Ekman looks in. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. And that is into right field. That looks like it's going to do it, and it will. And as Ulysses makes the catch, and that is ball game. So the PGCBL season opens up here, and the Utica Blue Sox walk away from Veterans Memorial Park with an 11-3 victory over the Mohawk Valley DiamondDawgs tonight. Join us right back here at Veterans Memorial Park tomorrow night as the Dogs host the Amsterdam Mohawks, another big rivalry game. First pitch at 6:35. If you can't be here, catch us on the live stream on the Studio 25 Podcast Network on YouTube. I'm Scott Kimball. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow night.
We're out on the field and we're ready to play. We're all suited up, we got a game today. We're gonna play fast and we're gonna play hard, gonna knock that ball right out of the yard. So don't just sit there like a bump on a log. Let me hear you holler now. Let's go Dogs! We got a guy on third and nobody out. It's time to stand up, yes, it's time to shout. We're playing some ball and we're having some fun. Come on, boys, let's score that run. So don't just sit there like a bump on a log. Let me hear you holler now. Let's go Dogs! We're out on the field and we're ready to play. We're all suited up, we got a game today. We're gonna play fast and we're gonna play hard. Gonna knock that ball right out of the yard. So don't just sit there like a bump on a log. Let me hear you holler now. Let's go Dogs! 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 Don't just sit there like a bump on a log. Let me hear you holler now. Let's go Dogs!